what is going on? Of course, to all of my intellectual book snobs out there, it is me, Nostalgia Allure, and welcome back to another fine episode of Book Shade, where of course we go a little bit further in depth by giving opinions and commentary on paranormal, historical, as well as the interracial romance subgenre literature. I know that sounds like a lot, but guys, let me tell you, I'm sorry once again, I'm kind of behind schedule because Book Shade is updated on Fridays as well as Saturdays, so that's twice a week. But what ended up happening, guys, is I just, I think I wasn't feeling well or something like that. But I just decided, guys, yesterday to just spend some time understanding booktube terminology, because there's so much that, there's so many acronyms and so much stuff to remember that I was like, okay, I got to do my research. So for today's episode, we're going to be focusing on my very special readathon that I'm doing. And the reason why I'm saying this is very special, guys, because this is my first ever readathon. I've never done this before, but I wanted to do something that I felt was really significant to me. Also, I got to give shout outs. Definitely, it is March is Irish Heritage Month, okay? So shout outs to all of you out there who are Irish. And guys, there are so many great books that celebrate Irish heritage and excuse me here, and learning more about the culture. So please go out and don't do it just only on Irish Heritage Month. Always read awesome literature that's coming from people of diverse backgrounds and experiences, okay? But March is also Women's History Month. So what I decided to do, guys, is to do a Women's History Readathon. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys my TBR. You see, I'm getting the terminology now. I'm getting there. So the math. But I'm going to be sharing with you guys my TBR specifically for Women's History Month. Okay, so let's get started here. So the first book that I have here is from an author that I've never actually read any of her stuff, but I thought it was interesting. And the first selection here is by Tracy A. Ball, and it's called Civil Warriors, okay? So Civil Warriors, guys, it's pretty much a interracial black woman, white man romance. And from what I've read in regards to the description, it takes place in the 1860s. So I was like, oh, that would be interesting to read an interracial romance that takes place in that time period, okay? So that was my my first selection. And yeah, Tracy A. Ball, from what I have done my research on her, she likes to write romantic stories like that have it's like a tragic romantic story. Because look, if you really think about it, okay, back in the day, okay, you got the main character here. Her name is Georgia Ann, and she is a slave, right? And then you have John Richard, who is pretty much like a slave master. That's the best way you can put it. And it is a forbidden romance because, obviously, slave master and slave, getting together. Whoa! So this is going to be really interesting because this is actually written by a woman of color, because this, and I'll have to do a separate episode talking about sometimes the controversy that happens within the interracial romance book genre, in regards to it depends who writes it, you know. So that there's always been this kind of controversy about, you know, when non-people of color write interracial romances that feature people of color. So that's the reason why I picked this one, because for the women's readathon, they have this kind of board that you can follow, and what I decided this one was going to represent is having a woman of color on the cover, okay, and then also something that was set over 100 years ago. So that's what this selection to me reflects. All right, so this one I was really, oh my gosh, guys, I was really excited about this one. It just, maybe it was just the book. This book cover looks so sickening, right? But this is called Happily Ever Crowned, and this is actually written by 2 authors. So you have Lexi C. Floss as well as Anna Edwards, okay? And what's really kind of interesting about this particular book here, this is a dark romance, and I'm really starting to kind of get my TBRs to kind of push the envelope a little bit and read things that normally I would not feel comfortable reading. And apparently this book is quite dark, okay? So there is, as they would say on booktube, the trigger warning. See, I'm getting the terminology down. I'm getting there, okay? So I'm so sorry, guys. I have allergies. It's so bad. It is so bad. So okay, this one, yeah, dark romance, and it's pretty much it's a take on that kind of classic fairy tale gone terribly fucking wrong. And I think what this book is going to reflect to me, honestly, is that, you know, guys, sometimes in life, especially when it comes to romance, you know, you want this happily ever after, and that doesn't always happen. And then she is married, you know, her husband is just crazy as hell, and he is super possessive and super fucking crazy. So we'll see how this goes, but I love the cover. Like, the artwork on this is so sickening. And this is the first book in a series that is it's called the Underworld Royal's Tale. So the second book should be coming out in like the next couple of months, but I had to read the first one. I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds so fucking crazy. Now, to be specific, this is a dark paranormal romance, so I would really advise to make sure that, you know, if you are not comfortable with dark romances, because a lot of times, guys, this particular subgenre of romance, it covers a lot of topics that can be very, very like sensitive or triggering. So viewer discretion is advised with this particular book. Okay, so now this is the one that I'm gonna actually start reading after I finish reading A Quick Bite by Lindsay Sands. And yeah, that's gonna be an interesting review. But what this one is called, it's called The Lesbian Billionaires Club by Casey Luck. And this is the thing I like about Casey Luck, just upon my excuse me, my learning a little bit more about her, is not only does she write lesbian fiction, but she also writes contemporary romance. And I think that's really interesting kind of perspective, because most of the time when you see romance books that are in the contemporary romance genre, it is written by heterosexual women. So I think this is going to be kind of interesting, because with me being a heterosexual woman reading lesbian fiction, this is definitely going to be interesting. and it's not too long of a book, but I wanted to this book, of course, in the previous one, it covers female villain, and it also covers I would say, yeah, it's pretty much female villain. I think that's what it would reflect, and that's what it would cover. But yeah, this is definitely just like the other one here, you know, the other one that I just talked about, Happily Ever Crowned. I think these are going to be very interesting reads for me, because usually this is something that I would not normally read, but I'm really, you know, one thing I feel that's important on booktube is diversifying your taste. You can have your preferences of what you enjoy reading, but I really want to make sure, because I specialize a lot in regards to like diversity within the romance genre and subgenres, I have to take a personal responsibility to make sure I'm reading a little bit of everything. And if you guys have recommendations to like romance books that I should be checking out, please let me know in that vicious comment section below. Okay, so let's continue here. And the final selection, because see what I'm gonna do, guys, each readathon that I participate in, I'm gonna pick 4 books, but then, oh my gosh, guys, there's this other book. I'll have to talk about it on Friday. This book looks so sickening, so now I have 5. So I think it'll either be 4 or 5 books that I'm going to be reading throughout the month. I can't, like, for me, I'm just one of those people, guys, and this is how I read. I turn an audio book version, if it's available, on, and then I actually have the physical copy or the ebook version in front of me, and I just like to listen and read kind of simultaneously. That's how I'm able to kind of retain everything. But this is a long ass series. I believe there's over like 20 books, but this is by Lindsay Sands, and it's called A Quick Bite. This is book 1 in the Argenau vampire book series. Very, very popular, but it's gotten very divided reviews, because on one hand, some people say that you have to kind of, you know, the first book is like torture to get through, because it's good in the beginning, but then it kind of gets a little menopausal and dry, and then once you kind of pass book 1, then it starts to get better. So I will have to say right now I'm currently I'm about 60%. Yeah, I'm about 60% done with this. So I'm almost done. And I have to say though, A Quick Bite, the beginning was good, but it's kind of started to go on a decline, because it gets really dry in like the middle of the book that I'm at right now. And now I'm at the part where things are getting a little more steamy, you know. So it is a little bit of this gradual, they call it slow burn romance. But what's weird about it is, like, some parts there's like a slow burn, and then there's like a woo, you know, like there's some heat right there, you know, you want to put some hot sauce on it, you know. So I'm gonna be doing my separate review on A Quick Bite, but I don't know if I can continue the rest of the series, because I'm like, there's over 20 books, man, and this one, it's okay, but I think I'm gonna give it a chance. But I have some other series that I would like to read as well. But just because for the readathon, what this book represents is female villain, and also I think, what's the other one here? Yeah, I think that was it too, female villain. And I mean, I tried to kind of diversify according to this kind of chart for the challenge, but I think I've covered all of my bases here, because I have one that is historical, has a woman of color. Then I have one that's that has one or more female authors. Then I have one that's LGBTQIA. I just decided to pick that one on my, on my own, just because I wanted to kind of make sure. Because what I'm going to be doing, guys, for Bookshade, though, is I'm going to make sure that I have one selection that is interracial, multicultural, one selection that I read that is paranormal romance, one selection that I read that's historical, and then also one selection that is a web comic. So that's why I'm going to be reading between 4 to 5 books a month. Just because I wish I could read more, but it's like, man, let me tell you guys, reading is awesome. But one thing I'm learning as a new booktuber is that reading is very time consuming, and you really gotta like set some time aside to really read, and that's what I did today. Actually, see, what I try to do is to read at least 2 or 3 chapters a day, so that I keep on pace and everything. But of course, this one will cover the LGBTQIA plus. So, and then this one will cover my paranormal for this month, but we'll see. So yeah, oh man, I think I have some interesting selections here. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think of my Women's History Month Readathon, TBR. And if you have any recommendations, guys, I am always looking for some good interracial, multicultural romance books. And I'm looking for whether it's a hard copy book or an ebook as well, because I really want to start like changing the perspective here on BookTube about ebooks, because I think ebooks are really good too. Because let's say you're someone like me and you don't have a lot of space, to work with. Ebooks are great. And guys, I have a Kindle Fire. I have tons of books on it, and I'm just kind of going one book at a time, and I'll read one and delete one, read one and delete one, but at least I'll be reading 4 to 5 books in the month. Fingers crossed. But yeah, you guys keep the recommendations coming. Definitely let me know. Oh, also guys, before I go, I just want to let you know that Bookshade now has a official website too, which is bookshadeSnob .wordpress.com. So let me make sure I have this right here, because I know I was correct. It is bookshadeSnob.wordpress.com. So I will have all of the links below for that and everything. But yeah, I am so excited for this readathon. It's my first ever readathon, so we'll see how this goes. All right, so guys, thanks so much for watching. Once again, you can keep in touch with me the following ways. I am on both Twitter and Instagram at Bookshade1. And now I have my website too, which is BookShadeSnob, and that is .wordpress.com. So very excited about it, and that's where I'm going to be updating with all of my video reviews, as well as my more extended reviews that sometimes I can't cover here on the program. So with that being said, guys, thanks so much for watching, and like I always say, enjoy the darkness of reading. I'll talk to you guys on Friday.